Welcome to reading class, boys and girls. I'm Mrs. Spencer, and I'm going to get to introduce a fun story to you as well as teach you some things that you can look for in stories to better understand them. Today, I want you to say, I can identify characters, traits, and setting. Those are big words for some things that we'll talk about. And then we're going to read a story called Stellaluna and see if we can spot these things in the story. So today you will identify the characters, their traits, and the setting so that you can better understand the story, the things that are happening in the story. And you'll know you've got it when you can identify those things by answering some questions during the story. So, what is a character? That's a big fancy word that means who is in the story. And these are, of course, people or animals and even things sometimes. For instance, Curious George, one of my all-time favorite characters, is a monkey, an animal, in a popular series of books. Who's your favorite character? And then in stories, characters have traits. So traits is a word that means what a character might look like, what they say or do, how they act. So we can have things on the outside of a character to identify, as well as things on the inside. So outside, of course, that's easy. What color hair? For instance, the girl in my picture has brown hair and is wearing glasses and has a purple outfit on. Those are things on the outside, traits that we can see. But there are things on the inside as well. Traits on the inside might be what a character is thinking or feeling. And you might say, well, if they're on the inside, Mrs. Spencer, how are we going to know what these traits are? Great question. We can tell by what the character is saying or doing in the story, or maybe some of the reactions they have. For instance, if you are really surprised about something, I could probably tell from the look on your face, or maybe even the sound you make, or you might say, oh, wow, and I would know. So traits can be things about a character on the outside and the inside. So be on the lookout for those in our story today. And then the setting is where and when the story takes place. And the when could be very general, like night or day, spring or summer. We could tell from clues in the story about what's happening or the pictures, of course. And then where can be very specific, and sometimes that changes. It might start out at the farm, but then it ends up at grandma's house. So be on the lookout for where the story takes place today, and even if you can tell when, there are some clues. So here is a cover of my story, Stellaluna, I'm going to share with you. So right now, by looking at the cover, who do you think the characters will be? People, animals, or things? And there are some really cool words in this story. So right now, I'd like you to stop and review these sight words with your learning coach. Not all of these appear in our story today, but it's always a good time to practice sight words. So can you say these three to your learning coach? And then some neat words you will encounter in the story. Croon, that's a noise. Swoop, you may have heard that before, like a bird flies down suddenly. Startled, that means to be surprised. Perch, you see a bat in the picture with its feet perched or sitting on a branch. Clamber means to climb sort of clumsily, so not like a very good gymnast who could climb up really fast and without any struggle at all. Clambering is kind of in a clumsy way, using your hands and feet, like an animal who's trying to get away might clamber up a tree really fast. And clumsy. Clumsy means to be a little bit awkward, maybe to kind of stumble or fall or not be able to do it easily. So be on the listen out for those words in our story today. And so finally, as I reminded you, I want you to think about the characters, who is in the story, and their traits. How are they acting? What are they saying? How do they look? And those things will give you some clues. And don't forget about the setting. Enjoy our story of Stellaluna.